Welcome back to the Blue Review. Greg Bergman, the Big CY, Clinton Yates. Blue Review, always presented by Los Angeles International Airport, where changes are arriving daily to help reduce traffic, save travelers time, and transform the travel experience. Rough loss last night, but the Dodgers did take 2 of 3 from Atlanta. And I also kind of felt really good about everything, Clinton, because they were down 1-0, came back and tied it. They were down 3-1, they came back and tied it. It really took a sac fly in the bottom of the ninth to get that win for the Braves.
Yeah, Gonsolin made a couple mistakes, couple balls left the yard. But other than that, that's just a tough loss. I think that if we looked at this stretch of the season in terms of the records, the opponents they were facing, if you said 2 out of 3 against the Braves going into Tampa, you'd be happy with that. And I think they are now. If the Rays are playing right now, the Rays present sort of a different problem, I think, in terms of the type of team they are. They hit the ball a little harder. They don't run as much, but they've got between Franco, Arozarena, Siri, and Josh Bell, their second baseman.
Yep.
Like they got a squad. So, I think this will be an interesting look at just how good the Dodgers are out of league as well. Because look, the Braves are one thing. We kind of know them as an entity. I'm very interested to see how they match up against a team like the Rays, because that could potentially be, a World Series, opponent, legit.
Absolutely. Right now you're getting the best team in the National League. It's a little bit of percentages points with Atlanta, but they're right there. They took 2 of 3. You can call them the better team right now. So the best team in the National League versus the best team in the American League right now. It's a big East versus West thing. I would love to see how they match up. It is something that you could see later on down the line, possibly. And they already saw each other in the World Series a couple of years ago. So it's very possible. It's what's interesting to me about this upcoming series. The Dodgers haven't said who is starting on Friday yet. They have said who's starting on Saturday, Clayton Kershaw. They have said who's starting on Sunday, Gavin Stone. But What are they going to do with that Friday spot that's normally Noah Syndergaard? The fact that they haven't announced that yet kind of tells me that maybe they're deciding whether or not they want to do it. Do they want to find somebody in AA, AAA that can come up for a spot start in Tampa Bay? I don't know, but it's interesting what they're going to do there.
This is the question that we're dealing with, whether that's Friedman's decision, whether that's Roberts' decision. This is what we talked about. This is officially scramble mode. Listen, just because you beat the Braves a couple of days in a row doesn't mean that this problem has gone away. Nope. It's a management issue that's going to be there for the rest of the season, basically, until somebody either gets signed or somebody gets healthy. And it doesn't necessarily look like either one of those things is going to happen anytime soon. Fun fact. So I was on with Travis and Sliwa yesterday, and Sliwa was asking, why don't they just go all in and find somebody and trade for whoever? And, look, that's the hard part about this, is that you want to find somebody for the staff, but you don't want to blow up the team in order to do it. And it's hard to find people that are good at this stage of the season, and also not give them everything you have, and so there's a tricky balance there in terms of what happens next. This is sort of getting away from the Rays series, but I thought it was an interesting question. I wanted to know your thoughts.
Yeah, so I think that there is things that can be done. I think you have a very strong farm system, and at some point you have to use that farm system to help out in areas that you have deficiencies at. So if right now you have a problem with your starting rotation, it just is. Everybody's on the IL, and you're using guys like Gavin Stone and Bobby Miller, when Bobby Miller probably came up just a little bit too soon, even though he was great. And it's a touch early. So I think they do need to go out and get somebody. I think if you can get a frontline starter and maybe a shortstop and maybe even some depth in the outfield, you can go out and go do those types of things because you have the ability to do that. Maybe there's some guys on the active roster that you can move as well that are ready to go. But you try and find guys like, I know we've talked about this in the past. Corbin Burns he's done at the end of the year for the Brewers. Willy Adames is done at the end of the year. So you can find guys like that, maybe not them specifically, but you can find guys that are just kind of done at the end of the year and can move around and maybe move a couple of those prospects that you're not sure about yet.
I'm not giving up prospects for guys like Willy Adames. You know what I mean? Like, that to me is not the move I necessarily want to make. I understand that there are talents out there that are going to be difficult to acquire, but this is why it's difficult, because they're already pretty good. They just have a very specific problem. If they have to drain other things in order to solve that problem, I don't know. It's just really unfortunate. I think on some level, you kind of got to ride it out because, that's the whole point of having talent in the minors. Yes, it is for assets, but it's also so that your team has people that you can use. It's a very, very tough balance. But you mentioned, potentially wanting to get some more depth in the outfield. That's because your boy Outman has not exactly been looking great at the plate recently.
No, so over his last 30 days, it has not been great for James Outman. He's 15 of 84 over his last 30 days, which means that he's going through it. He's going through the struggles of being a star rookie. I mean, he had obviously that great start, but it was going to happen. I'm not disappointed by it. I'm not worried about it. I think he'll pick it all back up. But at the same time, pitchers were going to figure him out, and they have started to do that. The fact that he only has 15, he has 4 doubles, 0 triples, 2 home runs over that time. One of them was that great grand slam, but he's just not finding the plate like he used to. And if you look at some of the things where he was walking and not striking out very much, 8 walks, 38 strikeouts in that time. So 38, he's striking out a ton. Which
we call that pressing.
Yes,
in the business. Definitely pressing at the plate. Now, listen, I'm not going to get mad at a guy for not having that many triples, because he was leading the league in triples, you know what I'm saying, for some time. But you're right. It's a rookie, it's a rookie slump. But his when you say that what he's hit in those two in that stretch is doubles and homers, that still means there's a little bit of clutch in his pop, and for me, I'm not taking him out of the lineup just because he's had a stretch from the strikeout standpoint. So yeah, he'll figure it out, but he's still a hustle guy in the outfield. He's still a guy you want around the dugout, and it's just been a rough couple of weeks.
Yeah, and that's all it is for him. And I think that he's going to pick it back up. But it is starting. I mean, it's a rookie wall. I mean, this is kind of things that happen no matter what. He'll figure it out. The coaching staff will work him out, and it'll all be just fine. He is a very plus defender, so that's going to stick around. He has to stick through it, and you also want to be there for him. Dave Roberts should be there for him, saying we're sticking with you. You're in every night. We'll give you a day off every once in a while, but you're there. You are the starting center fielder.
Rays coming up. I got to say, I do not think this is a series that the Dodgers will take. I think this is going to be the hit that comes to the staff at this point of the schedule. If you don't even know who your starters are going into the series, that does not bode well for me. It's an understandable problem considering everything we've talked about, but on the road, at home, this Rays team is really good. And it's going to be a tough go for the Dodgers these next 3 games.
Yeah, sure is. And the Rays just in general are good. So I wouldn't, if they lose the series, I'm not going to be disappointed by it. I would hope they can win the series because that just makes it better for them. But overall, I'm not thinking too much from this one. All right, that'll do it for the Blue Review.
Yeah, maybe the long road trip. Hold on. What will we be at? Let's review this right now. Do we know the record on the road trip right now?
Because so the record on the road trip, they've lost 6 total games. Actually, it's now 7 total games in the month of May. I know that. I'd have to go in and look at what the actual schedule is.
Okay. You want to get out of May you want to get out of this month with less than 10 losses. That's the goal.
I agree with that. All right, for the Blue Review, Big CY, Clinton Yates, Greg Bergman, thank you to LAX, and we'll see you mañana.